lovely to meet you, Debbie. Today I'm with Debbie Woodward, who is the National Programme Manager with Mayo Sligo Leitrim ETB, which is the Education and Training Board. Thanks for joining us, Debbie, and for being a part of our Head Start project. Can we get started with you introducing yourself and giving us a brief overview of your educational and professional background?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Paula. Lovely to meet you this morning. Delighted to be here chatting to you today. My background is, I'm currently interim national program manager at MSLETB for a brand new level 6 2-year apprenticeship program in digital marketing that's going to be launching in the next couple of months. So we're very excited about that. And AI plays a part on that, and I'll probably touch on that a little bit later. I also deliver training for local government agencies like Local Enterprise Office on generative AI for digital marketing, because it's a subject I'm very, very interested in. But I've been working in the technology space for over 30 years now, and I guess I did a degree in computer science straight from secondary school, and I've always been interested in technology. I think I didn't really know that I wanted to study computer science in school, and as part of the Leaving Cert math subject, I remember doing some programming in the language basic and finding that really interesting and thinking maybe I knew I wanted to go into business, but I thought maybe computer science might be an option for me. So went and did a degree in that. And as part of that degree, I did a work placement in 3rd year where I went to work in France in an AI research lab. And that was absolutely fascinating. I was introduced to the world of AI, and speech recognition in particular was the project that I was working on, a very high profile client. And it was really fascinating. And that, I think, fostered my love of emerging and new technologies. And that's kind of stuck with me ever since.
Wow. So you were an early integrator into AI, really.
Very early. Yeah, before I really knew very much about it at all.
And so can you talk a bit about your daily job now today? What are your daily tasks and how do you use AI?
Okay. Well, basically, when I left university, I went to work for Oracle as a graduate, and I started off as a developer there and moved into management and worked there for many years, and then relocated back from England, where I'd gone to college, to Ireland, back to the west of Ireland. There wasn't a huge amount of tech work available at the time, so I needed to have a bit of a change in my career direction. So when I was working at Oracle, I had done a postgrad in management and marketing and decided to focus on that area because I felt that there was a niche at the time for businesses to use social media and digital marketing. It was just in its early infancy about sort of 15 years ago. So I trained myself up on that in more detail, and I've been delivering training on digital marketing for Local Enterprise Office for the last 13 years or so, and more recently have moved into teaching generative AI for digital marketing because it's such an important aspect of the future of digital marketing. Now, I could see that coming, so over COVID, I decided to upskill myself. And through my involvement with an incredible organisation called Women in AI Ireland, they very kindly sponsored me to attend the first certificate in foundations of AI that was held at TU Dublin. And I did that over COVID, and that was a fantastic experience because it introduced me into the real detail of artificial intelligence. So we were covering things like data visualization, statistics, maths, machine learning, NLP. And that was a fantastic introduction to AI. And that allowed me to then be able to introduce generative AI into my digital marketing training. And it also gave me an opportunity to get involved in other fascinating things. Like, for example, there was an online publication called Good AI that I was a contributor to. So I was writing articles for them all in my spare time. But day to day, if I'm not teaching generative AI for digital marketing, I'm using some of those tools and platforms through my work as a national program manager. So I'd use them in terms of productivity and time saving, but also with this new apprenticeship program that MSLETB are launching in the next few months, we do have some really innovative modules where we're introducing the learners to generative AI and how they can use those tools to help with things like content marketing for their digital marketing for their employer. So I'm finding that my background, I suppose, in upskilling myself in AI has led me to use this on a day-to-day basis.
Brilliant, brilliant. You've kind of answered the next question, which was what led you to a career in ICT and AI? It's kind of a logical journey, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was. And I think that's something that I was just very fortunate to have had the exposure, I suppose, in secondary school, where we had an opportunity to look at what programming is. We had a computer lab and we got to see what programming was, and I got that little taste of computer science, which led to me being interested, I guess, in technology and emerging technologies. So I guess even though I'm in my 50s now, I find I'm still learning, and every day is a school day, and I can see where technology is moving, and I want to make sure that I keep up with it. I don't want to fall behind. So I suppose that's something that I was exposed to at an early age.
Yeah, super. So on this journey, and you've had a really exciting, and as you said, it's developing still. What have you found were the biggest challenges that you faced or are still facing when progressing your career in the field of AI?
I think that the biggest challenge for me has been not seeing enough women in that space already. I think that if it hadn't been for me having the opportunity to do a bit of programming in the final year of secondary school, I may not have gone into computer science. I may have just gone down the route of business, which would have been fine, I'm sure. But I think that I was fortunate, and even after, I think it's 35 years since I had those first programming classes, even 35 years later here in Ireland, we still don't have computer science as an option for leaving certificate students in Ireland. So, women and not just women, girls and boys are not having the opportunity to get that exposure to computer science, and therefore they don't necessarily know that they're interested in technology or whether STEM could be a potential career for them. So I think actually I was very lucky, but I think today's students don't necessarily have the same options available to them. And I still can't believe that in 2024, every secondary school doesn't offer computer science as a leaving certificate subject. It's a real challenge, I think, for us as a society to bring it in as an option for everyone.
Yeah, totally. When you say it like that, it makes complete sense. Like, why isn't it there already?
Yeah.
So along the way, did you have any challenges in having your qualifications or expertise recognized by others, both peers or employers within the sector?
Yes, I think that there was definitely, in terms of my own personal perspective as well, there was some challenges in upskilling myself because I was working. I was a busy mum, had 3 children, and I knew myself I needed to upskill. What certain things that you can self-teach, but the AI, for example, is quite difficult if you're wanting to upskill yourself on the technical side of things. And I'm not a technical person, and I think that's an important disclaimer to put out there. And I'm still not a techie, but you don't have to be technical to work in AI or to be interested in AI and learn more about AI. So I think one of the challenges I had was about trying to find the time to reskill myself. And, COVID gave me that opportunity because obviously we couldn't really travel anywhere. So I was able to find the time to take on that course. And that was a very, very useful course for me to be able to have technical conversations with people and kind of hold my own. But I just think that I don't want girls to think that they have to be technical to work in the area because it's such a diverse industry. I mean, we need people with skills like collaboration, team building, those strong transversal skills are harder to teach. Resilience and integrity, that kind of strong work ethic. Those skills are harder to teach. The technical skills, don't worry. If you need them and you're interested, you can find the way to upskill yourself on those. It's those transversal skills that you should focus on. If you find you enjoy working with people in a team, you enjoy technology, then AI could definitely be a career option for any girl.
Brilliant. Well, if the girls watching this video don't feel inspired by that, that's lovely. That's really nice. In terms of the Irish education system, I suppose you touched on it there already, but do you feel that there's enough support for female integration into STEM and ICT roles?
I think still not enough. As I mentioned, we definitely need to be supporting girls in primary and secondary school and exposing them to what STEM is and how it could be a potential career in the future for them, and start developing that interest at an early age. I think as a country we're getting better. There are some really interesting initiatives out there. I know Microsoft have I think it's called a Dream Space that they run in Dublin, where they bring girls and boys from schools around the country to their innovative space, where they introduce STEM subjects and really try and foster that interest at an early age. But it's not enough. I think we need to be doing more. I'd like to see more STEM introduced into primary schools. There are after school activities that some families can send their children to, learning about robotics, etc. And that's lovely, but that's not available to everybody. Not everybody has the finances.
Doesn't it?
Exactly. Inclusivity is really important to make these opportunities available to everybody. So I think once you get to college, I think that's fine. I don't think there's any real issues about integrating girls into STEM at that point. I think we need to do more work in the earlier side of the education system, to the primary and secondary school.
Yeah, not everyone's going to be as lucky as you when you're in school to get that introduction to programming or it's so important.
Exactly.
Again, you touched on it already in terms of the transversal skills. Are there any other skills or competencies that you realize were helpful on your journey, or that you'd like to learn and develop in the future?
I think that one of the key things I've learned is to be open to self-improvement. So I think to go into any project or any organization open to learning more, and not feeling that I know it all now. I've done a course, tick in the box, I'm sorted now. Being open to learning from the people around you, and that's where the transversal skills, I think we need to put more emphasis on them. I think those creativity and collaboration skills can take you a long way in AI. It's not necessarily about being a data scientist or understanding the technical side of machine learning. That can help, but you don't necessarily need that to work in AI. And I think that we need more women, particularly, to consider AI as career options, just to make sure that we get more diversity in development in the future, because at the moment we're seeing issues around bias in the AI that's being developed at the moment. So we need to make sure we're encouraging more young girls and women into those teams to encourage more diversity into the early development process. And because women, we bring a different perspective, a different way of thinking, a different thought process, and that will then lead to a better product that will be developed at the end of the day. So I think
hopefully with less bias.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's too much emphasis on technical skills. Girls think, oh, well, I'm not interested in coding, so I don't really want to go into AI. But you don't have to be. There's a place for you in AI, even if you're not technical.
Super. Have you, in terms of opportunities and resources, have you observed or seen any specific opportunities or support systems that have facilitated the integration of young females into the AI workforce? So I know you mentioned Microsoft's program. Beyond that, have you come across anything?
Not really. I think that there's a lot of fantastic work being done in Europe, but we need to be learning from our European partners, I think, about what we need to be doing. We need to be looking at best practices in education for how to introduce these STEM initiatives into early education. I think that we're not doing enough. There are, as I mentioned, there's after school activities like Coda Dojos and robotics, and that's fantastic, but that's not as part of the school day. I think we need to be improving the education system, and I think that, to be fair to the Department of Education, they are trying to make those improvements, but they're slow. I think we need to speed up these new initiatives and introduce them earlier to try and foster that interest as early as possible in those girls.
Yeah, totally. I suppose you've touched on it already, and the support and specific resources. You found Women in AI Ireland really supportive for yourself. In terms of gender imbalances, what has helped you in navigating the challenges there that you faced in a professional world of AI?
I think that in what I've seen through my journey in AI to date, it can make a huge difference if you watch a webinar, you go to a talk, and you see a gender balance on the stage or on the panel discussion. If you're seeing a mix of, women and men talking about particular AI related topics, that inspires you to think, I could be there one day. I could be adding my opinion. And I think that it's a challenge if we're seeing a totally male dominated AI workforce, because we have to see it to believe it. And I think we need to be looking to some of the incredible trailblazers that are out there at the moment. I've read some incredible books and watched fascinating theories about what some women in AI are doing. Women like Dr. Joy Bolowini, who's doing an awful lot of exciting work about the area of algorithm justice and the bias that comes through in our decision-making AI system. So I think that the barriers are there, but we have to look beyond them. We have to look over them and not let them hold us back. And I hope that girls, through this incredible program that you're involved in, will be motivated to not consider those as barriers, but more as kind of jumping stones. I'm going to use that now, and I'm going to work beyond it and not let it hold me back.
That's a lovely idea and concept. Yeah. Jumping stones to the next phase. Lovely. Yeah. So parting words of advice, Debbie, any advice you'd give to young girls, apart from jumping from one stone and not looking at some barriers? No, that's a lovely concept to think of.
Thank you. I'd say immerse yourself in it. If you have any interest in AI, and don't be assuming that you have to be technical. Go to the library, read some books, understand a little bit more about what's involved, and what a broad industry it is, because it's not just sitting in a corner coding. It's about the impact good AI can have in society. So immerse yourself in it, read more about it. There's some amazing TED Talks webinars available online for free that you can look at. And if you're of an age of, let's say, maybe 17, 18, try and get some practical experience. If there is a company that you admire, contact them online, or if they're in your city or town, make contact with them and see, could you do an internship? Could you do a free work placement? Could you just shadow somebody, even just for a few days? That can be enough to give you a little bit of an insight into what happens in these organizations on a day-to-day basis, and you'll be better placed then to make a decision as to whether or not it's something that might suit you or might be a good fit for you moving forward.
Lovely. Debbie, I want to thank you again for your time today and for joining us on the Head Start project.